Welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 1, episode 5, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, or operating heavy machinery. If you're playing along, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
Well, since I have an issue with migraines and
Mm.
mine are not playing nicely, I'm going for ginger ale tonight.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that you are not feeling well.
Yeah,
Um, and I enjoy your ginger ale. Now, let me ask you this question. Are you a dry ginger ale person or a sweet ginger ale person?
dry.
Dry. That is the right answer.
Yeah,
I actually
that's
have
one.
trouble finding a ginger ale that's dry enough for me. There's one that I enjoy. The rest of them are too sweet for me. Oh,
Yeah, no, there some have certain brands I can't do. So
yeah,
yeah,
likewise.
I've I've got my one that
Yep.
I'm pretty happy with.
And amusingly enough, to me, the one with dry in its name is too sweet. Like, it's the one I can't get down. Excuse me. So the cocktail for this week, I think, is pretty obvious. So what I'm going to share with you is my own personal Bloody Mary cocktail recipe. You take 3/4 of a cup of some kind of a spicy tomato juice cocktail, something like a V8. Put an ounce and a half, maybe a skosh more into that. Mix in 2 dashes of Worcestershire sauce, a dash of hot sauce, something like Tabasco, salt and pepper to taste. Stir all that up. Serve that in a tall glass over ice. Garnish it with a nice green leafy celery stalk. I personally recommend a couple of garlic and jalapeno stuffed olives on a toothpick for garnish. And then I take that whole thing and I pour it right down the drain and I make myself something that actually tastes good to drink because I cannot choke down tomato juice.
I was going to say, if you can drink that, I'd ask, who are you and what have you done with my sister?
Yeah, you know
And
me. You know I am not a fan.
I was,
Now, amusingly enough, I've been told I make a really good Bloody Mary. I just don't drink them. So I have bourbon instead. So
now
if
that's what I
any of
was expecting.
you who are watching this happen to like Bloody Marys, enjoy. I will not be joining you. On that note, Wizard Dave, can you bring up our cards for us, please? So I gotta say, I was looking at mine, and I think I'm probably I might as well have a ginger ale, honestly, for all the drinking I'm going to be doing. I do not have high hopes for my card.
Yeah, now I will admit, because I knew you were taking the lead on tonight, and
Hmm.
this is one of the few episodes so far that I have watched, I struggle a wee bit with this one. So
Oh,
I did not rewatch this one
okay,
again. So my memory's a little vague.
gotcha. All
Uh
right, well, I'll be picking up the slack for you anyway, so we're gonna have to
Oh,
find out.
yeah, no, I mean, I remember the episode, but, yeah, enough that I was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember this one." Yeah, no, I remembered enough to put my 2 cents in and then some, but yeah, no.
Yeah, this one's extra creepy. This one's, I think, one of
Yeah,
the creepiest ones.
yeah,
Uh,
no, yeah, no, yeah, just no.
yep, just no. All right. Well, the first one is on the house, so we're gonna mark that square off.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's the best tasting Bloody Mary I've ever had. So real quickly before we get started, I do just want to bring up something that came up the last recording that we did, last episode. It's not a huge deal, and Lynn, you and I have talked about it already, and we have a plan. But I've always believed that if you make a mistake in public, you should apologize in public. So, Lynn, again, you know this about me. Um, this is a failing of mine, but I have one of those brains that if my train of thought gets derailed at any point, I pay hell trying to get that back on the tracks. And alcohol does not make that situation better. So when we were watching last week's episode, Lynn was doing exactly what she should have been doing. I was yammering on about something, and she pointed out a plot point that was important to mention, and my brain went, and so I what I should have done was wait until we were off mic and talk to you then, but instead I was a little terse. And so I wanted to apologize for that. You know I love you. And I don't ever want to step on your toes. So my
You,
apologies.
as you know, I love you. You know,
I
the
love you.
apology is accepted. And the
Thank
polite
you.
thing for me would have done is to pause it and not talk over you.
Yeah,
So,
which you know what? We're flying this plane while we're still building it. You know, if anybody is watching this podcast expecting like high quality, professional, a big production value, you are in the wrong place. All right. Well, no more chick flick moments. Let's get this show on the road. All right. So starting with the recap, obviously this is the exact same recap we've been watching since we started. And it makes sense to me that they would be doing it this way because the show is very young. They're still trying to attract new viewers. And so they're just hitting the same high points over and over again. That Mom is dead, Jess is dead, two brothers are trying to figure out what's going on. They've got dad's journal. It's the same thing. I promise. Hang on, hang with me. They are going to start doing some fun stuff soon. But for right now, excuse me, it's the very familiar previously on Supernatural.
yeah, but let's
Uh,
be honest. We get to see Sam in that suit over and
you
over
do love a man
again.
in a suit.
Yes,
I know that
yes,
you
I
do love a
do.
man in a suit. I just giggle over the floppy hair, but
I
but yeah,
love him.
6 foot tall, 6'5", nice suit. It's hard to go wrong with that.
Mhm.
All right. So uh, we're watching a couple of young girls. There's three of them, and they're having a slumber party. The lights are all out. They've got candles lit. It's nice and creepy. Um, and they're playing truth or dare. And the little girl Lily initially says truth, and then somebody asks her if she has a crush on a boy, and she immediately goes dare. Like I'm not prepared to admit that. I think this is shot really well where you can see like I mean this is clearly a nice house. But you can it just with the lights off and the wacky shadows from the candles, it can be kind of creepy. Um so we've got Lily. They've dared her to say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times, and we already saw that like there's different stories about who Bloody Mary is, which is going to come back later in the episode. Um, but they're all in agreement that if you say Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror, she shows up and she scratches your eyes out. Um,
And I just jumped.
yeah, there's a good jump scare here as the girls. This is a great shot with that
Yeah.
one little ray of light on Lily's face when the dad comes to check on them.
Oh,
This is
and then
super creepy.
yep.
He's
Oh,
all the Okay, so what kind of narcissists have this many mirrors in a hallway? Like, come on, this is you don't need to look at yourself that much. But
and
what's
also
really
just
cool about it?
I just
Go
wanna
ahead.
pause this just for 1 second.
Yeah,
Hold on. Is it just me, or that scene on the top of the stairs, is it not reminiscent of the pilot? Like,
say
just for
more.
the way he's at the top of the stairs and the angle
Mhm.
and all that, for some
Mm,
reason to me, it just reminds me of that very initial scene, like that very for some reason, it reminds me of that very initial scene in the
okay.
I can't explain why, but it does.
And I think that's great that brings up that recollection for you. I can't say that it did for me, but that doesn't mean you're not right. What I will say while we have it paused, however, is I would call that a summoning because she said Bloody Mary 3 times, and Bloody Mary, in fact, arrived. Let me take a look at my card here. I do have a summoning. Now, do you?
Nope, and if that's not a summoning, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that is a summoning. So, okay, I'm gonna have just a skosh here.
Oh,
All right. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say while it's there. Um, I do love before we hit play again, the way that that's filmed, where the camera like comes down the hallway and you see her in the different mirrors that all that these narcissists have hung up all in their hallway. But then when the camera pulls back, she's only in the reflection. You don't see her in the hallway.
yep,
And I think that that's pretty cool the way that they filmed that. Um, so now we've got the dad, and he's
yep,
in front of the bathroom mirror. I do just want to point out, and then I'm going to hit play, that there were a lot of pill bottles in in this medicine chest when he opened it. So, and that's something that's going to come up a little later. Lynn, apparently you have summoning ritual. Did you not mark it off?
oh, do I? No, 'cause I didn't see it.
Second row.
Oh, there it is. Duh.
Wizard Dave, he's always right.
Yes, yes, he is. Okay, cheers.
Cheers. All
Hey,
right, I'm hitting play here. So we saw the dad with the pharmacy and the medicine chest. He's taken a couple of tablets of some kind, and something is wrong with his face. This is not
yeah,
good.
this,
Uh, yeah, this is pretty creepy. So the older daughter comes home. This is Donna. And she starts walking down the hall to the bathroom, and giant puddle of blood um in the hallway, which unsurprisingly she's confused by. Like, why is there this giant puddle of blood in the hallway? She pushes the bathroom door open. That is a shit ton of blood. We get a good double scream here. And then we cut to Sam, and this is from the pilot where we can tell from the color palette shift here. This is another one of his nightmares. He's reliving Jessica's death. Um, and then we realize, no, he's asleep in the Impala. Um, and a couple things I want to mention here. One, the building that they're in front of is Riverview Hospital. This is an abandoned mental health facility outside of Vancouver, and this is a location that they will return to frequently. Like once you start recognizing Riverview Hospital, you see it all the time. They're in here a lot. Um, the other thing I'm going to mention is I'm not going to say a lot here. We'll talk about this more as the show goes on. But they had a variety of Impalas that they would film in. One of them, the roof came off. So they could literally take the roof off in order to get that shot that we just saw with, from above with Sam with his head leaned back over the bench seat on the Impala. Um, Here they are. They're okay, so they're inside now and they're trying to get a look at the body, poor Mr. Shoemaker's body. The coroner is gone. They have a pretext that they're college students from Ohio State. They're in Toledo, Ohio, which is creator Eric Kripke's hometown. He grew up in Toledo. So that's why this episode takes place there. Story by Eric Kripke. So he wanted it in his hometown. They're claiming to be college students, and this guy is having none of it. And poor Dean is like, I'm going to hit him in his face, I swear. But I gotta think this guy, like these two are used to charming people, and this guy is like, I got no patience for your bullshit. No, thank you. But he is all about the Franklins, and Sam gives him a bunch of money. Dean is super pissed off. He's like, dude, I earned that money. Which I'm gonna pause it because we have a dude, so we can check our bingo cards. Um, but I do think it's kind of fun that Dean is insisting, like, I earned that money. And Sam is saying, what do you mean earn it? You won it in a poker game. And Dean is like, yeah. Yeah. So we found out in the pilot that they support themselves by identity theft. We learn here that they also hustle cards. So they're hustlers, they're con artists, and that's how they support themselves. So with that, let's check the cards here.
I do not have a dude.
I do not have a dude either. So
Usually
hopefully,
I do. This is an
oh, do you
unusual
have a
one.
dude?
Well, no,
Oh,
usually I do.
usually. No, this time
Yeah,
you don't. So hopefully if anybody's playing along with us, they have a dude on their card because
yeah.
we're coming up snake eyes. Um, okay, let's hit play again. Here we go. Since we both got denied on the dude. Um, Coroner's assistant man is saying that Mr. Shoemaker's eyes essentially liquefied, and we get this lovely special effect here with the body with no eyeballs. It's only a little creepy. um, Intense cerebral bleeding. So again, the boys are doing what they usually do. They're trying to figure out, is this our kind of gig? Is this something? Is it natural or is it supernatural?
Yeah.
Um, and uh, Mr. Assistant Man is, hey, you, almost a doctor. Um, he's like, I'm not supposed to show you the files. And Sam gets his wallet back out. So here the guys are coming down the stairs, and just take a minute to appreciate Serge Ladouceur, and he was the DP and the director of photography, and just how beautiful and shadowed this work is. Like there was nothing else on television that looked like this at the time. Um, so the boys are now, they've showed up to talk to the dead guy's kids, only to find themselves in the middle of the wake. And so everybody else is in suits and dresses. And oh, Jill is a big fan of the boys. she's She's very happy about the new guests who have arrived at the wake. Um, and so they're pretending to be co-workers of the dads. Um, we've got, the daughter, her Donna, Lily is on the other side of her. They're asking her questions, and here's where Lily starts insisting this was not a stroke, that it's her fault that the father is dead, that she summoned Bloody Mary. Um, and of course, the older sister Donna is like, "This is not your fault. Don't be ridiculous." And the Winchesters are, they're just trying
Yeah.
to get information, to figure out what's going on. And they're reassuring Lily, who, I mean, what would you say? She's somewhere in the neighborhood of 12. I
Yeah.
think they, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Damn straight you are. No.
I know better.
No, that's not true. I am wrong all the time. Okay, so we've got the boys upstairs. They've snuck upstairs for the wake. They're checking out the bathroom. Somebody has done a really terrible job cleaning up this crime scene. There is still
Yeah.
blood on the floor. Well, we don't know that it's a crime scene, but there's quite a bit of blood still on the
Yeah.
floor. I'm fairly certain that is the sink I have in my powder room downstairs.
Yes,
These
I
people
think.
clearly have excellent taste. I see a lot of mirrors. I am not as narcissistic as these people. I don't have as many mirrors. And again, just because the plot focuses so much on mirrors, they do a lot. We've got this great shot where the boys are reflected in the mirror as he's opening and closing the medicine chest. Um, and they're starting to put it together that, okay, this guy dies right in front of this mirror, but something's a little weird because he's not the one who summoned Bloody Mary. Why is he dead? Donna's friend Jill comes upstairs. Jill's the serious one. She's like, "What are you two doing?" And so now two strange men have showed up at the wake, and they insist they're going to the bathroom together. And that's not suspicious at all. So she starts challenging them. "What are you doing here? If you're not honest with me, I'm going to start screaming." And they decide, okay, we're gonna be as transparent as we can be right now. We're gonna tell them, okay, we don't honestly know what happened, but something happened. Like something very strange is going on. And we're here to try to figure it out. She's like, "So what, you're like cops or something?" And Dean is like, Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with cops. That's a good plan. Let's just say that." So, um, they give her their contact information. Sam gives her, he actually writes his number on a piece of paper. "Welcome to 2005." Just put your phone number in somebody's, right in somebody's contacts in their phone. Um, and they've decided they're going to come to this library and try to figure out who Bloody Mary is, because dad couldn't even figure out if it was real or not. Like, is this just an urban legend or is this something real? This is a beautiful shot here. This is so gorgeous with Sam in the rays of light coming down from the skylight. Um, I just think
Except
they
minor
do
problem.
such a minor problem. Computers are computers are out of order because again, it's 2005 that happens. Um, Something I thought was kind of interesting. So here we've got Jill talking to. I'm sorry, this is Charlie. I keep saying Jill. That one's Charlie. This one's Jill. And what I noticed is that Donna and her friends look very much like Lily and Lily's friends. That you've got a brunette and two blondes. of the two blondes, one is very serious and kind of I don't want to say following the rules, but she's a little more reserved, and the other one is very brash, and so here we've got um this one's Charlie. I keep messing this up. Jill is looking in the mirror. She's going Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. It's freaking poor Charlie out. And no, she's just being an ass. Um, and so she hangs up. Um, and right away we've got the reflection with the creepy chick in the mirror.
Yep.
Um, Jill decided she really wanted to be in her underwear right now. Um, uh, she she can wear whatever she feels comfortable wearing. We've got the reflection of Bloody Mary in the monitor, so it's not
Yep.
just mirrors; it's really any reflective surface. Um, I think how they film this is really cool. How the reflections don't match
Yeah.
the what the person being reflected is doing. And so here, poor Jill, she starts bleeding from her eyes, and we've got her reflection because we never saw what happened to the dad, but here we see what's happening to Jill, and her reflection is saying it's your fault. That boy's dead. She starts bleeding from the eyes. She collapses. Um, and cut to cut. I can't speak. Cut to commercial. Back into poor Sam having nightmares again. And really, this whole episode, I'm actually going to pause this because we have an awesome. Dean says he's an awesome brother. Let's see if either one of us have awesome on our game cards. I do. I have an awesome.
I am really scouring since I missed the first one. And
Cheers.
cheers for
Mm.
you. I do not see it.
Just me?
Yeah.
All right, just me then. I'm sticking my tongue out a lot this time around. All right. Well, and you know what? While we're here, this is also a quirky motel room, which I
Oh,
also have. Ah, crap.
oh,
How about you? Do you
seriously,
have?
I don't have that one either.
I guess it's. I was about to say, I guess it's a good thing that you've had migraines. That's not what I mean, I swear. But all right,
Oh,
well, me
god damn.
again. Cheers.
Oh, dang damn it.
Well, if you had to have an episode where you had a crappy card, at
This would be it.
least at least it's one where you weren't going to be able to indulge anyway. Uh,
Let's say. But heck, I could drink anyways.
I say you can drink away. Just you're
Oh,
not driving, right? You're following the rules
I am
with your
following the
ginger ale.
rules.
All right. So last thing I'm going to say before I hit play again is so again keep in mind this is 2005, so CGI technology is not what it would become. I think it's pretty cool the way that they did the effects with the bleeding eyes was they had to do it practically. So the actors have appliances under their eyes. They're wearing prosthetics. And there's tiny, tiny little tubes hidden in their hair under the prosthetic up into the corners of their eyes. And so there's somebody out of frame with a syringe of fake blood. And when they're supposed to start bleeding from their eyes, that person is, depressing the syringe and so that the blood is live like that's real stage blood. running out of their eyes.
That's
And
cool.
I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. And now obviously, technology would improve over the 15-year run of the show, and they would these kinds of effects they would start doing digitally in the future. But here they're doing it practically. So I was pretty excited to learn how they did that. Okay, hit and play. The boys are in a
I
quirky
love
motel room.
I
Go ahead.
I love the lighting on Dean's face right there.
Yes. Yeah. This is Serge Ladouceur. Man, the guy is a genius. Their DP. I, I can't say enough good things about how he made this show look. I'm just really talented. Um, so Dean is again busting Sam's chops about the nightmares. Sam is being cagey. Um, and he's not ready to admit that they're causing him any kind of trouble. Um, and Dean is saying while Sam was snoozing, he was hitting the internet and he can't find anybody locally. They're looking for a woman named Mary who died in front of a mirror. And there's just nothing that he's been searching, and they can't find anything that makes any sense. But they get a call from Charlie who tells them that now Jill is dead and she died the same way that Mr. Shoemaker died. Um, they have this great, again, we see Sam being all sensitive, like, I'm so sorry about your friend. Um, she doesn't want to believe this could be because of the Bloody Mary thing, and the brothers are looking at her like, well, now that you mention it. She's like, no, no, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. They're like, well, maybe it's not. She's like, that's worse. Like, it's worse if this shit is real than if I'm just crazy. And here we are. She's sneaking two boys, actually men, into her room, which I'm sure if the mom found out about, she'd be just thrilled. But she's sneaking them into Jill's room. We've got the two brothers sneaking in through the window. They've got a camcorder. Do you remember these?
Yes, yes, I do.
And so they tell her to turn the lights off. The camcorder has a night vision function, which Sam asks Dean to turn on for him, and Dean says, "Do I look like Paris Hilton?" Which is, of course, a reference to that infamous sex tape that was leaked of Paris Hilton, and that was filmed in night vision. Um, Also, 2005, so this same year, Jared was in a film with Paris Hilton called House of Wax. So the two of them starred in a, or co-starred, I guess is a better way to say it, in a film together this same year that Supernatural came out. So it's a timely Paris Hilton reference. Sam is going around the house with the night vision camera. He finds some blood coming out from under the mirror. He asks Dean if there's a black light detector in the trunk. And can you believe it? There's a black light in the trunk. Like, what is not in that trunk? But they can see a handprint and a name written on the back, Gary Bryman. They're asking her if she knows. They're asking Jill, does she know who it is? She says no. The two of them are looking at one another very pensively. They do pensive very well. Sam does some research. He comes back and he says that Gary Bryman was an 8-year-old boy who was killed in a hit and run. Describes the car, which Jill immediately recognizes as being, sorry, Charlie recognizes that it was Jill's car. And so they start to piece together, like, oh crap, Jill probably accidentally hit this little boy. Um, So they go back over to the shoemaker's house. They do the same black light test on the back of the mirror, and they see Linda Shoemaker's name, which now they're talking to Donna, the older daughter. And she says, yeah, that was her mother's name. Her mother died of a drug overdose, back to all those pills we saw in the medicine cabinet in the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're asking, did maybe your dad poison your mom to death? And for some reason, she's a little upset by that. She tells them to get out and she storms upstairs. Clearly, she's overreacting. These two strange men in her house asking if the father killed the mother. Boys are back in their motel room. Uh, Dean has now hacked the government database and he's looking to see, okay, we know there's nothing local. We know people are dying who are associated with some kind of death that they um, haven't told people about. So maybe that's what's happening. And so he's doing a nationwide search. We know it can't be local. Did anybody die in front of a mirror that has anything like this? And he finds this case. Her name is Mary. She died in front of a mirror. He's got crime scene photos. But it happened in Indiana. There's the same bloody handprint. Her name is Mary Worthington. Um, I did a quick search how far it is from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Toledo, Ohio, and it's actually not that far. Because sometimes it's like, oh, it's an 18-hour drive. Let me hop right over there. But this one's not that far. They're talking to the detective from the case. And now their pretext here is they've told him they're reporters. He starts talking about this case from before he retired. She was an actress. Someone broke into her apartment and she was murdered and pretty gross. Her eyes were cut out. Um, I almost said excised. Like that's your trivia word for the day. Her eyes were cut out. And he's got a copy of the case report, of course, that he shouldn't have. He says that she was having an affair with a married man. He thinks she tried to write the name of her killer on the mirror, but she passed away before she was able to do that. He's got photos of the mirror. I do think it's kind of wild that the guy she was having the affair with, whom this detective thinks killed her, it looks like he's wearing dark glasses inside, which, if you're not blind and you're wearing sunglasses inside, you're a douchebag. Um, but I think it's an interesting visual that like her eyes were cut out and the photo that they have of the person they suspect as being her killer has like his eyes kind of blacked over. Um, but that guy's dead. So okay, they think they know who it is. Answer: salt and burn the body. Small problem, she was cremated. Um, so they can't burn the body to release her spirit. They can't get her justice because the guy they think killed her is already dead. So they're already kind of in trouble. Like we think we know who it is, but we don't really have any way of getting this ghost out of town before she keeps killing people. They're like, okay, maybe her spirit is attached to the mirror that she died in front of and left her bloody handwriting on. So now they've got to try to track down the mirror. Meanwhile, I'm going to get it right this time. This is Charlie because Jill is dead. So this has to be Charlie is talking to Donna in the bathroom, I presume, at the high school. And I got to say, honestly, Donna's being a bitch. I am I am not like, okay, I get it. Her parents are both dead. She's not going to be reacting well. I'm prepared to give her some latitude. But this is one of her best friends in the world, and she's being really mean. She says Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror, and now we start seeing Bloody Mary following poor Charlie. Charlie's now in chemistry class. She's got her little compact mirror. She picks it up, checks her eye makeup, and creepy ass ghost behind her in the mirror. She starts freaking out. She's in chemistry class. She's screaming, everything reflective. She sees Bloody Mary in. The teacher comes running. She breaks this glass window here, trying to hide from the reflection. The teacher's trying to figure out, he's wearing glasses, got the reflection in the glasses.
Yeah.
Um, and Charlie is just in a terrible state. Cut to the boys in the Impala. They're driving down the road. Sam is on the phone while Dean is driving. He's trying to track down this mirror. It made its way through the family. The family eventually sold it a week ago to an antique store right in Toledo. So that explains how Mary Worthington from Fort Wayne, Indiana, has found her spirit has found its way to where the hell are we? Toledo. We're in Toledo. Excuse me. Um, what they don't understand is how she's moving through a bunch of different mirrors. And again, the boys are really they're at a loss here. Like Dad's journal is giving the bupkis because Dad couldn't figure out if Bloody Mary was even real. Um, they can't burn the body. They can't put the spirit to rest by giving it justice. Maybe it's the mirror, but then how is she jumping mirrors? So we really see the boys are behind the 8 ball. They get a call from Charlie. Charlie says she's seeing Bloody Mary. This little clock, I'm going to pause it really quickly here. This clock that Dean just took off the wall, that spiky clock, the only reason I mention it is because it's a frequently used prop in like set deck uses that particular clock with all the spikes very frequently. So this is the first time that clock appears on camera. We're going to see that a lot over the next 15 season. Excuse me. All right, I'm hitting play, and the boys are talking to Charlie. And they're saying, like, look, it's okay. We're just don't look at anything reflective and it'll be fine. She's like, yeah, that's not sustainable. Like, I can't just not look at anything reflective forever. I'm reminded of, I think it was an Outer Limits episode where a guy was haunted by something that was only showing up in reflections, and he was doing the same thing where he was like trying to hide himself in a place with no reflections, and he ended up dying because his wife was comforting him, and he could see the reflection in her eye, like in the lens of her eye, he could see the reflection, and that's what killed him.
Oh.
So she's correct. This is not sustainable. But Dean says, like, okay, spill. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm not the one who said it. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Like everybody that Bloody Mary has come for had some kind of a secret and a death on their hands. So what's yours? Like, we know you're hiding something. What is it? If you want us to help you, we need to know. She starts telling a story about this ex-boyfriend of hers who, was very troubled, and he threatened to kill himself if she left him. And now, first off, good for her, leaving him. Like bonus points have been awarded to Charlie here for having the strength to walk away from somebody like that. However, um, she says, he threatens to kill himself, and she says, go ahead and do it. which is probably not what you want to say to somebody suicidal. Like you need to set healthy boundaries. You have a right to curate healthy relationships for yourself. But okay, she made a mistake. She's young. It happens. He made his own choices. His choices are not on her, which is essentially what the boys are saying to her. And once they get out of the room and they're talking to each other, that's what's saying. Like the boyfriend killed himself. That's not Charlie's fault. But they start to realize, like, okay, ghosts are pretty black and white. Like what the ghost is probably sensing is the guilt rather than the truth. Um, and Sam is trying to piece together, what are we going to do here? Like, what are our options? If she's able to move around from mirror to mirror, maybe the way to kill this one is to summon it to its own mirror, and then we smash that mirror that she's in, and Bob's your uncle. That'll fix it. Dean's like, do you think that'll work? And Sam's like, well, I don't know, but we don't have anything else. So this is the plan. But now they've got to figure out, okay, who summons Bloody Mary to the mirror? And Sam starts saying, I will. Um, Dean has finally had enough. He pulls the car over to the side of the road. There's this great shot of them pulling the car over to the side of the road, and then another car drives past, and you feel like the wind hit the camera. I think it's how that's filmed. It's like it's this tiny little moment, but I think it's really great. Um, Sam starts clamming up. Dean is saying, like, dude, enough. Like the nightmares, you're calling out Jessica's name in the middle of the night. You've got to let this go. This is going to tear you up. This is not your fault. If you want to blame something, blame the thing that killed her. And he's trying to say, like, blame me. I dragged you out of there. Sam's like, no, I don't blame you. I could have warned her. It's like, but you didn't know what was going to happen. And we've got this great look from Sam where he's like, we've just got this little quirk of his head here, that Jared just gives us this little hint that, like,
Oh, look, I love
you're
that look.
saying, say it again. What did you say, Lynn?
I love that look on Dean's
Which
face,
one?
like the one of,
I'm
oh
good.
shit, what do I not know?
What? Yes, Dean. He's like, I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. I don't like
Yeah.
it. This isn't going to happen. You're blaming for yourself for something that's not your fault. I'm not going to stand for it. And this is something we see again and again and again from Dean, that he is not comfortable with his brother putting himself in harm's way. And Sam is like, no, we're doing this. You have to let me do this. I've got a secret. I can't tell you what it is, or it's not a secret. Um, I'm going to pause this here because we have a lock pick.
Yeah.
And you know what? We've got a couple things going on here. Let's check the bingo cards. So,
I'm already in mine.
well,
See,
okay, backing up a bit, the boys were using an EMF detector when they were upstairs. So, do we have an EMF detector?
mm,
I do not. Okay, so no on the EMF detector. I am prepared to call that a heartfelt bromance,
thank
which
you, because I was gonna say if that's not a heartfelt bro moment, I don't know what is.
that is a heartfelt bromance. We'll do that. Now I have a question here. We
Okay,
do
I have an
not
answer.
have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You said I have a question. I said I have an answer.
Oh, good, because I need an answer. So we do not, nobody says lore. However, they do say folklore. Are we going to count that as a lore, or are we going to be sticklers and say no? If it's not just the word lore, it doesn't count.
Oh hell, it's us. Of course we're gonna count it.
We're going to count it. Okay, so if either of us have lore,
I do.
you do. All right, you grab that one. I do not have it. I got the heartfelt bromant. I did not have an EMF detector, and we're watching them pick a lock here. So let's see if either one of us has a lock pick.
And I've now got 4 out of 5 in a row.
Ooh, you are very close.
Yep. And
I
I got a decent shot of getting I think I got a decent shot at getting the 5th.
Nice, nice. Well, I am gonna okay, so the only one I got was a heartfelt bromance. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna make this one a little scanty. So cheers.
Cheers.
Mm.
So yeah, all
All
I
right.
need is for someone to say jerk or bitch, and I've got 5 in a row.
Oh, well, it's not jerk or bitch, it's jerk and bitch.
Oh,
Because it's that's the if you remember from the pilot, um Sam calls Dean a jerk, Dean calls Sam a bitch. Like, so
okay. So
it's
then
an exchange. So I got some bad news for you.
that ain't gonna happen.
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. Um, but all right, I'm gonna hit play here because we've got the boys picking a lock, and then as soon as they get there it goes. Now it's playing. As soon as they get in here, watch all the reflections. Like they just go from one mirror to another, to another, to another, to another. And we've got the boys just reflected again and again and again and again in all these mirrors. I think that's just a genius piece of filmmaking. I love it. Um, they are here's another mirror. So now they're in an antique shop that essentially sells nothing but mirrors, and they're looking for one specific ugly ass mirror. And so they're like, "Oh, well, this isn't gonna be quite as easy as we hoped."
Yep. Well,
So
and then
they're
it's like, oh, and you see they've tripped the alarm.
they have tripped the alarm. If you've seen this show all the way through, you know that that's kind of a big deal that they've tripped this alarm here. Um,
Yep.
that is something that we are not going to come back to for quite a while. But it is interesting that they tripped this alarm here. Um, going through, they've split
Yep.
up. They're trying to find the mirror. Again, how cool is it that this is lit just with the flashlights? Like this is, I mean, I think it's just really gorgeous how they do this. Sam finds hideous mirror miraculously quickly in an antique store that appears to sell nothing but mirrors. Uh, they're confident this is it. They've got the mirror. Dean is not loving that his baby brother is going to be the one to summon this thing. Like this goes against every fiber of his being to let his brother do something dangerous. Um, here we go. We've got Sam in front of the mirror, and he says, Bloody Mary. Dramatic pause. Bloody Mary. Even longer dramatic pause. Are you sure, Dean? Okay, fine, whatever. Fucking do it. He's got his
Commercial.
crowbar ready. Bloody Mary.
And shit, right as he needs
Of
Dean the
course.
most.
Yep. The second he says Bloody Mary for the third time, that tripped alarm comes back to haunt them. He said Gene is like, I'm gonna deal with this. Sam, you smash anything that moves. There's a really gorgeous shot coming up here. So we've got the lights from the cop cars, kind of shining through the front mirrors. Yeah, try that again, Liz. Front windows. I think this is a beautiful shot here with Dean silhouetted against those front windows. Here's Sam. Now they don't know what happened to Jill. So all they know is that Bloody Mary shows up and people's eyes liquefy. They don't know what happens. So Sam's sitting here with his crowbar, getting ready to smash the windows. Um, they're asking Dean, you're Mr. Yamashiro's kid?" He's like what? Like, Sam sees her in mirror number one and he smashes it. Mirror number two, he smashes it. He's sitting here like, come on, bitch. You know this is the mirror you want to be in. And he thinks all he's got to do is smash it. But here we've got this little smile on his face, and here's where the reflection starts to behave differently than the person. And we get this really creepy performance from Jared. Sam's eyes start to bleed. If you look really closely, you can see the line of the prosthetic under his eye there. Um, and he starts bleeding from his eyes, and the reflection starts saying, "You killed Jessica. This is your fault." Dean is trying to convince the cops outside that he was adopted. He's like, I ain't got time for this. And he just knocks the two of them out cold. He's like, okay, that hurt. Back inside. My brother needs me. He goes back in. Sam's hurting. He's in a lot of trouble. And here's where the reflection says, "You saw visions of Jessica for days before she died. You could have warned her." And we've got this great, you saw her screaming and burning. And you ignored your dreams because you just wanted to be normal. And you didn't want to admit that this was happening. And here comes Dean to the rescue. He smashes mirror number 3. We've got a Sammy, which we'll check our cards in a second. Sam is like, "It's Sam." He's like, "Are you okay?" "Yes, we're fine." Mirror smashed. All done. Off we go. Job's done. Everybody's safe. The
Ugh.
end. And then we get, oh my God, this creepy, overcranked shot of her climbing out of the mirror like the Ring. Um, they hear the glass cracking and crunching as she climbs out of this mirror. The way that she moves is super creepy. And this is interesting. Both boys are collapsing with bleeding eyes. So it's not just Sam, it's hurting Dean too. Dean grabs a mirror and he holds it up so that Bloody Mary is reflected in the mirror. And now what happens to her is exactly what's happened to all of the other people who have seen Bloody Mary's reflection. So essentially, she kills herself. And I think this is a really clever solution here. Um, and she kind of melts and collapses, which is an effect very similar to what we saw in the pilot when the woman in white. Dean smashes mirror number 4, and everybody's saved. Ta-da! Dean looks at Sam and he's like,
Love that
how
line.
many years of bad luck is that?
I love that line.
Like, technically, all right, I'm going to pause it here. We've got this little black screen for the commercial break. Oops, I'm going to pause it. Um, technically, 7 years of bad luck per mirror. They smashed 4 mirrors, so that's 28 years. The show only runs 15. So this is a fan theory that, all of the terrible things that happened to the Winchesters over the run of the show is because of these mirrors that they smash here. All right, let's take a look at our cards. Do we have a Sammy? I do
Yes,
not.
I do.
You've got a Sammy.
Yep.
Wahoo! All right. Well, you know what? You have ginger ale, so I'm gonna have a little smidge on your behalf. So,
Oh, right on ahead.
one thing I'm gonna mention before I hit play again is well, two things. I lied. One is that so the all of that broken glass, there are two different props that they use for those. Like the broken glass that she climbs out. over is made of rubber. So it's a soft, it's squishy, so she can climb on it and not hurt herself. Everything else that you see the actors break, like when Charlie throws her lab stool through the window, or these four mirrors that the boys break. Excuse me, here in poor Mr. Yamashiro's antique store that only sells mirrors, is it's called candy glass, and like breakaway bottles. Somebody gets hit in the head with a bottle on screen. That's candy glass, and it's literally made from sugar. You can eat it. It's literally made from candy. Um, so that's how they did that. Um, I
That's
do want to
actually
go.
an interesting fact. I did not know that.
Yeah, I learned that fairly recently. That I mean, I knew that they were special breakaway stuff that wouldn't hurt you. I didn't know it was literally edible, that it's literally candy. Um, so I wanna before I hit play again, I wanna ask you, so we just saw that scene where both brothers, their eyes are bleeding. And I'm curious what you thought about that, because we know that your eyes only start bleeding if you're hiding some kind of a secret. And now Dean's
Are we
eyes are bleeding too.
are we really surprised to find out that Dean is hiding something? Does that
Mm.
does that really shock you? Doesn't shock me at all.
So shocked. Oh, so shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
no.
yeah, and I'll admit, first time I watched it, I'll admit I didn't entirely catch that but that doesn't it's Dean. Like, that doesn't surprise me at all.
No, no. I have to say, honestly, I didn't catch it at first either. But I said I've seen the show a couple of times, and so the entertaining part to me about it is, so there's a lot of fan speculation about what's going on with Dean here, that his eyes are bleeding. To me, I think the more interesting thing is, um he keeps, like, all episode long, he's busting Sam's chops for hiding something and for blaming himself for something that's not his fault. And I forget what episode it was. Maybe it wasn't, maybe Dead in the Water, where, we first started learning that Sam was having nightmares. And of course the two boys are in the same motel room. So, Dean is going to know that his brother's not sleeping well. And he's like, I was up at 3 a.m. and, you were wide awake. And it's like, well, if you sleep just fine, how come? Oh, no, it was Phantom Traveler. That's right. Because, he was saying, like, nothing scares me, and then, oh yeah, no, he's scared to fly. um but he's been busting Sam's chops for a couple of episodes over hiding something and letting something bother him. And here we've got this sign that, no, Dean's got his own demons.
Oh,
I will say this is.
well, I think we knew that sorry, I accidentally
No, go ahead.
I think we knew th I think we kind of got the hint of that when he pulled that sizable knife, because that was not a small knife, out from under his pillow,
Yeah,
that it's like, not only does he not sleep great, but he's ready at all times. Like, it's like
yeah.
that in the one who comments the most is sometimes trying to hide the most.
No, you
I
are
I
you 100% correct.
Yeah, I know there's a better way to phrase that, I just can't come up with it right now.
Yeah, Shakespeare said, methinks she doth protest too much. um
There's the expression I was looking for.
Yeah, you can always count on the bard. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, somebody doesn't he doesn't just have a knife. He's got a Crocodile Dundee. That's a knife,
Yeah,
under his, which I think is the
exactly.
same joke I made last time. But like, you don't sleep with a weapon like that under your pillow unless you genuinely believe that something could attack you in your sleep and something you need a knife this big to defend yourself with. Um, so yeah, you are 100% correct. Now, what I will tell you is that in the official companion volume, so there's been a lot of fan speculation over the years about what this secret that Dean might be hiding could be. And in the official companion, there's a quote from Eric Kripke where he says, "Oh yeah, there's a big secret here, and I know exactly what it is. People think I'm not telling the truth, but I am. It's something that forms the core of Dean's personality, and it will be revealed when the time is right." So this is a non-spoiler spoiler because I'm spoiling the fact that the show never brings it up again. So, which is why there's so much fan speculation because the show drops the ball on this. This is one of those breadcrumbs that the show just never comes back around to. What I will say, with the caveat that I don't personally think anything that we don't see on screen is canon. The supernatural universe is pretty big. There's four prequel graphic novel series. There's 17 tie-in novels. There's Bobby Singer's Guide to Hunting. You can get John's journal. So there's an animated series. There's a web series. Like there's the supernatural universe is pretty big. I don't consider any of that to be canon. That being said, there's of the four graphic novel tie-ins, the the one I think is worth the time to read. There, a couple of them are not good in my opinion. The one I think is genuinely excellent is called Rising Sun. And there's something that happens in Rising Sun that could potentially be this secret that Eric Kripke is hinting at, and they put it in the graphic novel because it never showed up in the show. So I'm going to say what it is. So spoiler alert, if you don't, Lynn, if you don't want to hear me say it, if you're going to read the graphic novel, put your hands over your ears. Everybody else who's watching it, if you don't want to know what it is, skip ahead about 15 seconds, starting now. So in Rising Sun, Dean, when he's 12 years old, he shoots and kills a man, and it's somebody that he it's not clear that it's self-defense, but he genuinely believes he's protecting the family by doing it. So is that the secret that Eric Kripke was alluding to? I don't know, because again, I don't consider it canon, um, but it's possible. It's as good a guess as any,
Yep.
because show never brings it up. I do also legitimately think it's possible that because we saw that, like Charlie, the reason Bloody Mary was coming after her was because she was just really guilty over somebody killing themselves. So it's also possible that just Dean is carrying some guilt for something. You know, when you're a hunter, you don't save everybody. I mean, just in Dead in the Water, they couldn't save everybody.
Yeah.
So it's also very possible that he's just carrying some guilt, that he blames himself for something that any other person would say, Dean, that's not your fault.
We're also assuming it's one thing and not
Fair point.
multiple things that have built up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, and again, it's one of those things the show never addresses. So
Yeah. So,
it could be
and
one thing, could be many things, could be Dean blaming himself for something that's not his fault. Like any guess is as good as another.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
all right. With that, I'm hitting play. And the boys are bringing Charlie back home. We have this beautiful crane shot of this incredibly sexy car, and um, they're dropping Charlie off at the house. For once, probably because she's underage, but for once, Dean doesn't hit on the girl. And so, we finally get her just leaving without kissing either one of the boys. Um, and we've got this really great line from Sam where he's saying to Charlie, like, your boyfriend's death, it was not your fault. Try to forgive yourself for that. There's nothing that you could have done to stop it. Sometimes bad shit just happens. It's nobody's fault. Um, so she goes into the house. Um, Dean is like, hey, that's some pretty good advice. Now it's advice he doesn't plan on taking for himself, but but it's advice he's going to give to Sam. We've got this song from the Rolling Stones here called Laugh I Nearly Died as the boys drive off into the sunset. We've got this last little conversation here where Dean is like, now he says, when this is all over, I don't know what he means by when this is all over. um, but potentially when he,
I
he
love
means
this
like, yeah, look, you're my brother and I'd die for you, but there are some things I need to keep to myself. Like, I'm, no, I don't have to tell you. Just as he looks out the window and hears Jessica standing on the street corner in this white nightgown. Now, it's not the same gown she was wearing when she died, but we've got this beautiful shot of Adrian Palicki, and then we come around the telephone pole and she is gone. So he's having some kind of hallucination, vision, ghostly visitation. We don't know what it is, but he's seeing Jess. Um, and that is it. That is our episode.
one. Yep.
Um, let's take a look at our cards here, and see where did we land. Let's
But
look. Okay, so neither one of us got 5.
no, not in a row. I got 5.
Not in a row.
Yeah,
Including the one on the house, I have 5 total. What did you end up with?
I have 5 total.
Oh, we tied in last
We
place. I think that calls for a toast. We have tied. All right. So we both lost by the same amount. All right. So I know when we started, you were saying that this one creeped you out quite a bit, and I can I can tell that it creeped you out because you didn't have a lot to say. Like, I'm pretending this is not happening.
no, it didn't creep me out as much the second time around, I will say.
Right.
But the fact that I hadn't watched it as many times, I
Right.
didn't. I was more reactionary,
Right.
but watching when I'm watching it this time, I'm watching it on a much smaller screen. Of course, when I'm
Right.
watching it, like I'm watching it on a big TV. So
Mhm.
watch that scene, watching the father in the mirror and the skin just, oh God, that grossed me out the first time. I was like, yuck, yuck, yuck. I don't know why that grossed me out so much, but just ugh,
It's a now I am going to assume that you have never seen Poltergeist.
no,
But
no, I have not.
but it's funny that you mentioned that because it, like, it is something of a, and I know it was a criticism that you've had of other episodes that they've done. It is something of an homage. It's not, it's reminiscent of. It's not an exact duplication, but it's reminiscent of a scene in Poltergeist that I will not tell you about, or you won't sleep tonight. But the that like the face cracking. And so for me personally, the shot itself is, again, because I'm such a giant nerd about like how I love like special effects and how they do the special effects, that I'm watching it kind of technically. Um just as an amateur enthusiast. Um, and it's reminding me of other scenes in other movies. So it's, the shot itself is not that distressing to me as much as it reminds me of scenes that are more distressing that I know they can't do on
Yeah,
television. So it, but yeah, this episode is properly creepy. I will
yeah,
absolutely give you that.
yeah. So I mean now, granted, my scene, like the one that I think is the most well done,
Mhm.
I think is the or the one that I think is the I don't know if it's well done or just what I love the way they did it, is the very end, turning the mirror, like watching Mary climb out of that mirror, which I did not see coming. Like I thought once
Yeah.
they smashed that mirror, that was the end
All
of the
done.
world. Yeah. And then watching her climb out, I was like, are you freaking kidding with me? And then when they turned the mirror on her, I thought that was brilliant.
Mm.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
The way they did that. I was like,
Yeah.
awesome. That was
Is that the thing that you love?
yeah,
Or is that,
yeah,
yeah, that's the thing that you love?
yeah, the
And
big
the thing that
slab.
you hated was the
Yeah,
Mr. Shoemaker's
yeah.
face cracking? So yeah, my thing that I loved is exactly the same as yours, and it, like, the reason why for me is because these early episodes we see the boys trying to figure shit out. Like they don't have their dad. Um, we're going to see a lot more about the dynamics between the boys and their father, as spoiler alert, as the show goes on. Um and so it's the two of them trying to figure out how do we do this, like, and
Yeah,
they're making mistakes and they're learning on the job, and the job that they're learning on is one that if you get it wrong, like, the penalty is high. Like
yeah,
there's a real chance the two, if that had not worked, like, that was a gamble. They had no
yeah,
way of knowing if that was going to work. And had it not, the two of them would have been found dead with their
yeah,
eyes liquefied and all of the blood in their body poured out on the floor of poor Mr. Yamashiro's antique shop.
yeah,
Um, so I'm with you. I love that scene very much. For we see them making a stupid mistake like tripping a motion detector. Um, that they're trying to figure this out. They're kind of crappy at their pretexts. Because they're 22 and 26, and they're just trying to figure this out as they go. But yeah, I thought that was a really clever solution that Dean came up with. Um, and it's something interesting as well. A lot of people kind of bucketize the boys and say like Sam is the smart one and Dean is the brave one, or Dean is the one who's the badass. And I,
yeah,
I would argue that A, Sam is a badass, and B, Dean is every bit as smart. He's just not book smart. But when it comes to like tactics and strategy and just kind of figuring things out. He's a smart guy. Like he comes up with some really creative solutions. So I'm with you. I absolutely, I loved the same thing that you did.
Now,
I
I
just talked a long time to say, yes, I agree with you.
now I would argue that Dean is equally as smart
Oh,
in
yeah.
every way, but he uses comedic relief and sarcasm, I think, to cover up some maybe even pain or
Hmm.
like maybe insecurity.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree with you more.
So like so instead of so to sort of bring on so to kind of have a harder shell, like that's his faux pas, is that badass faux pas, but
I think the word you're looking for is facade.
facade. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
I
Uh
good.
no,
Not I don't want to step on your toes, but I know what you're trying to say.
yeah, no, you were 1,000% correct. Yeah, no,
I
that just
speak
that
Lynn.
facade. What?
I speak Lynn.
Yes, you do. Well, you've had just a wee bit of
A
practice.
tiny bit of practice, 20 minutes or so.
So yeah, so yeah, I just think that tough facade is just smoke and mirrors to what's actually going
Yes.
on.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. You are absolutely correct. And this is something that we're gonna see a lot more in the seasons to come, where really both Winchester brothers are hiding who they really are.
Hmm.
That both of them have up some pretty sturdy facades. And it's gonna take a long time for them to get comfortable with who they really are and to start dropping those facades. But no, you are absolutely correct. For me, the thing that I hated, and I said this already, but I think Donna's pretty annoying. Um, I don't know quite what it is. I don't wanna I'm not a professional actor. I don't really wanna question the decisions that an actor makes, but, like, she's so good with her little sister at the wake, where she's like, "Oh, sweetheart, it's not your fault." But everybody else she talks to, she's just a bitch. And I found her to be pretty unpleasant. Not that a woman always has to be pleasing, but there's just something forced about that performance that I didn't love. The other thing I'm going to mention, I know I talked about it a little bit already. I don't love the comment that Dean makes about the Paris Hilton video. The reason being, that video was not released with Paris Hilton's consent. So it was a leaked video. So there are issues of consent that are problematic. Now what I don't think they knew at the time. You know me, I don't follow a lot of celebrity gossip. I don't think we knew at the time, but has come out since. Is it she claims she was coerced into making the video. So both of those things are like those are two very shitty things to happen to a person.
Yeah.
So I don't love the comment that they made. However, that being said, I think it's very on brand for Dean. Like at this point in the show, that's a very Dean thing to say. So it's very in character for him. Um, but I gotta say, like, all the times I've seen this episode, I really struggled to come up with something I didn't like. And for me to get nitpicky about an in character comment about a 20-year-old leaked video and a bitchy older sister, like, this is a great episode. I think they did just an incredible job with it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a great one, and the fact that the one thing I don't like is the fact is something that just creeped me out the first
Yeah.
time was it just gave me the heebie-jeebies. But I
Oh,
mean,
it's creepy. It's creepy, and it's just
but
I
it's
love that
supposed
it's
to be.
creepy.
It's supposed to be. I
It's supposed to
just
be creepy.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I think that's last call for us. Thank you so much for coming along with us for the ride. We love hearing from our supernatural family. So please, let us know what you think. If you're enjoying what you've been watching so far, give us a 5-star rating, write us a review, or send us an email at supernatural. Let me try that again. I've had just a wee nip or two. Hunter Fuel Podcast at gmail.com. One of these days I'll get it right. For our next episode, we will be watching season 1, episode 6, Skin, when Dean figures out that if he doesn't hurry up, he's going to be late to his own funeral. Until then, be safe, everybody. Bye bye.
Right.